Today I invited Justin to be my guest speaker. I feel really lucky about it. So, Justin, could you please introduce yourself a bit?
Hi, I was just getting some tea. My name is Justin Merhoff. Um, I'm in the U.S., which is hilarious because I interact with so many people in the UK that I've been approached with like times to talk and I'm like I'm in the U.S., but I can make that time. Yep. Um, I've been in cybersecurity for 26 years, and I started last year in July at DQ Systems, and they are a digital accessibility software and solutions and services company. So when I came here, I I'm here as the director of security. Part of it wasn't to become an advocate. I just became one because once I saw the biggest revelation to me, and we'll get into it more, was that we weren't securing everyone that I thought we were, and we'll talk more into that. But my background, to more about me, um, at 17, I entered in the U.S. Army because I didn't want anyone paying for my college. I wanted to do it on my own, um, and I took that as an opportunity to break into cybersecurity, although it didn't exist at that time. That's not what it was called. Information assurance is kind of what it was called at the time. Um, this will be a blast from the past. Um, I was I looked at the video and picking my job on a laser disc, and the movie True Lies came out around the time I came into the army, and I'm a huge spy nerd, and I wanted to be the calm guy in the van like Tom Arnold, and so I did. I mean, I found the military version of that literally, but it wasn't as cool. Trust me. But I took the corporate or I took the government experience, and when I retired in 2017, I wanted to go corporate because I felt like not in a cocky way, but I felt like I understood the government side, not super expert. I mean, there's plenty of them, but I wanted the corporate experience. So I've done that and got here, and I'm so glad because literally before coming here, I thought I knew what my end goal was, but it completely changed once I found out about accessibility.
Right. I guess that's why we're going to talk about the accessibility today. That's
I
kind
love
of a
it.
very special topic for me.
Yeah,
From my perspective, it's very, very serious.
it is very
Um,
serious.
it is very serious topic. So I did a little bit of research. I felt like still not enough for me to provide any insights. So I'm probably gonna start asking lots of questions from you. Then, yeah,
Go for it.
hopefully. My first question would be, what is your definition of accessibility?
I accessibility
Yeah.
is allowing everyone to participate. I mean that. Just allowing everyone to participate, equal access.
Right.
Now, digital accessibility is more where we're leaning, right? When we're talking security programs, you do have to talk accessibility and digital accessibility because there are in person portions of security programs, right? And then there's, if you're going into the cybersecurity field, there's conferences, right? And there's different layers to it. Um, but yes, overall, I would say that it's equal access to everyone.
Oh yeah, I think that's kind of like very challenging actually, because digital accessibility seems to be harder for people who actually couldn't get access to the screen and they have to use screen reader.
Right.
If they couldn't hear, they probably have to have some other assistance as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Probably, yeah, we're gonna. I did a bit of definition of accessibility as work. Um, because I'm based in the UK, probably lots of search engines result could be a bit different from
I
what
know.
you said.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. We were talking before we went live. And in preparation for the call, Pistachio looked up some links and shared them with you all. And I'm going to go back because I swear I looked for accessibility and cybersecurity in different ways on Google, and she found some stuff that I haven't. And my theory is because she's in the UK, but um, I don't know why Google would not present those results to me. It's weird.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. Um, it's kind of the definition I search as accessibility at work is about removing barriers to make sure disabled people can take an active part in working life.
So I'm going to challenge that. So we're kind of saying the same thing, but
Yeah,
that's kind of part of the conversation. I'm saying it's equal access, right? They're saying remove barriers. Why were the barriers there? That's because a lot of times we're building things and then we're having to retrofit them because we didn't think about accessibility from the design perspective. So we're building it unusable and then expecting people to ask for help because their product doesn't work through a feature request is generally how accessibility is treated.
yeah. Well, I agree. Well, just from that perspective, because somehow I might get used to iPod system, but some people prefer Android.
Mm-hmm.
Then for people who only use Apple system, if they start using Android system, that can be totally different from user
Right,
experience.
right. And the two of the articles that you got were really cool. One thing that they're missing though is so far most of the articles that I have seen, and I mean articles, not the research, but like news articles and blogs that you found similar. I'm not saying that this is bad, but they are on the right track. But most of the work that I've seen, it's talking about accessibility and cybersecurity solutions for the end users, meaning we need to make sure that when we build security solutions that everyone can use them, or who we're trying to get to use them, right?
Right.
The portion that they're missing is those security tools cannot be admined by someone with people with disabilities, depending on what the technology is, because it doesn't support assistive technologies for admins. So if I want to go to college and I want to go into the awesome digital forensics program at said university, but I'm a blind user and I use a screen reader, I hate to tell you, you're never going to get into digital forensics. Never. Because they don't support assistive technologies. And the reason why I hone in on digital forensics, it's not because I love the field and I'm not disparaging it, but we're talking about looking at logs. Why can't a software that looks at logs be accessible to a screen reader? It doesn't make any sense to me. Um, when video games like God of War can be accessible by default. And that's another layer too, is yes, people want things to be accessible. And there are companies that are trying to make things accessible, but the ways that they're going about them are kind of piecemeal, right? And I understand budget, but if you designed it and if it was accessible by default, then you don't need to go into the search bar and search for the accessibility settings. Because okay, great, you gave accessibility settings, but if the user can't find where that is, if getting to it is not accessible, then what did you do? Right?
It's a great point. Yeah, it's a really great point. I really like the way you think about it. Um,
Thank you.
but yeah, that's kind of reminds me of that question. What makes you think of helping and supporting the community for people who needs more accessibility in cybersecurity?
Like, why am I doing it?
Yeah.
You want to just have me cry at 6 a.m. in the morning? Okay, fine. Um, because why why not? Like, if you're getting into cybersecurity, especially for the right reasons, for the most part, you're getting it in to secure people. I'm telling you, you're not securing everyone. You're not. Every company in the world, every organization in the world, for the most part, I would bet that probably 80%, 90% of your security solutions are not accessible by everyone that you service in your organization. So they're having to circumvent your security by getting help by someone else, and you don't even know that. And that breaks the trust, right? So, everyone, I would say, would you say it's fair that everyone deserves to be their own person and self sufficient, right? Well, you're taking that away already. They have disabilities, right? So we're trying to enable them. We want them to be as equal to as everyone. So let's do that rather than forcing them to ask for it. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but um that's kind of really strong experience I suppose you have, because you might met some people who really want to study cybersecurity, but they found they couldn't because they couldn't get
Right.
access to the tools, the screen reader or something.
Right. Well, it comes from, well, let me back up to what your question was. I
Yeah.
think initially the passion and what I'm doing comes from my job because I wouldn't have known about this before coming here. But then once realizing that I wasn't securing everyone, that's why I want to help fix this, because it started with I want to make sure that the solutions that I bring to my company, which is an accessibility focused company, I need to make sure that the stuff's accessible, right? But I can't because it doesn't exist for the most part. It's getting there, but it's very early on, very very early.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense to me because last I did a bit of research. I found reports by KPMG. It
Mhm.
seems like 25% of respondents identifies a disability for people
Yes.
who are doing cybersecurity.
Send me that, please. I need
Yeah,
that. How did I miss that one? We need to team up. This is, yeah. I need that article. Um,
yeah, I sent you the report. The
yes,
report,
please.
yeah, the report is about KPMG. I think it was from 2021 because I
No,
couldn't
still
find 2022 and 2023.
no. It's okay. No, it's okay. No, that's great. And I'll add to that, shameless plug. One of the links I gave you is the Accessible and Inclusive Security Advocates. It's a public group on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
That will be a great article to put there because I was having trouble finding these things. And that's why I created that group, because I wanted other people to help. And once you could post it in there as well. I
yeah,
mean, that's what the point of it is. And no salesy stuff. Like, I want art, like true articles, like blogs and stuff that's actually talking about pushing this initiative. You know what I mean?
yeah. That definitely sounds good to me. Um, I just
Sweet.
joined that group, so I feel like I can post that article after the live stream. I can just post it straight away. I got some links I can post in that group as well.
Can I give two shout outs real quick? Because I just saw someone. So both Joe and Steven have joined the call, and they're watching. And Joe and I talk a lot. Like, I consider him a friend. Oh, Itza just, oh man, are we trying to have a cry fest? So a lot of my supporters are joining this and are also getting the word out about accessibility, not just in cyber. Steven is not necessarily in cyber, I don't believe. But I actually sent him a DM just because I saw that I think he's also in the States and he's up really early to join this. And he's been going to the different lives that I've been at, and so I appreciate you guys getting the word out. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's good timing though.
Yeah,
Um,
you're
right
right
back.
though. The timing. I
Yeah.
think it's so weird because I think it's about to get really it in the next 2 years. I think you're going to see a real big push in cybersecurity to be accessible. If I
That'll
have
be
anything to
awesome.
say about it,
That'll be awesome. Because I'm just thinking about in the context of cybersecurity, what does accessibility mean, and why it is so important? Because without to doing sort of research, I wouldn't find it's kind of important to people
right?
who wants to do cybersecurity. Now I feel like it's kind of a question I really want to know.
Like, why is it important in cybersecurity?
Yeah, why? Yeah, what does accessibility mean in
In
cybersecurity?
cybersecurity, okay,
Yeah, in
perfect.
cybersecurity.
It goes back. So accessibility in cybersecurity is two sides. So one is most security programs to end users and organizations. You get what I'm like, to anyone, to HR, to what. Most of those solutions are not accessible. What I mean by the solutions is the training that's given, the security awareness training isn't always accessible. So they're not able to consume your training. So if they can't consume the training, how are they supposed to stay secure?
Yeah, I agree.
Right? So then they're already at risk because they're less trained, right? Now, because they can't get trained, they don't know how to use the tools properly. That's a risk. Okay, let's say they got the training. That's fine. Let's say you made the training accessible. Great. Will all the solutions that you told them to use at their company, are those accessible? Because once they get to the solution to log in and they can't log in because their screen reader, as an example, I'm just using that as an example because accessibility is a spectrum. But if they can't find the username and login on the web app that you told them to, log in their work hours in, let's say, and they pull it up and their screen reader can't find the username and password because it wasn't tagged properly, then they have to get a friend or someone next to them. I'm pointing to someone behind me, so they're going to have shoulder surfing, that word. They're going to have to do that, or they're going to have to do a digital version of that. They're going to have to get their phone and use this awesome app called Be My Eyes and say, hey, person in Ukraine, person in North Dakota, look at my company's website and tell me where the username and login is so I could put in my username and password as you watch. That's happening right now. So on the user side, that's the issue. What is accessibility in cybersecurity? They need to be able to use the solutions to stay secure. If they can't, they're not secure. Then there's other layers to that. Then for the professionals or the learners trying to get into cybersecurity, not if you have disabilities, depending on which ones you have. I mean, you literally can't even take a workshop. That's what I'm saying. You can't even take some of these free workshops that people are sharing.
Yeah.
God, I'm gonna start crying. Like it go and tell your, like, am I supposed to tell my granddaughter if she becomes newly blind that she can't get into cybersecurity? I'm gonna have to. And she's about to be 5. So we have about 10 years for her to get interested in this. So we need to get this fixed. I'm not saying she has it, but I'm using that as an example because there are people with children and grandchildren. This does affect us. And I'm a middle-aged white male, right? Most of our population in cybersecurity is aging. We're all aging, but you get what I'm saying. That we're
Yeah.
on the so with age comes need for things to be accessible.
Oh, that reminds me of grandpa. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, he just couldn't hear anything without the, the actual assistance things.
So
Um,
that's a perfect example, real quick. So the first part is we need to make sure that your grandpa's secure, right? Even the security technology that he uses needs to be accessible. That's what I'm saying. And then on the other end, your future children or current children or nieces and nephews or whatever, like they should be able to get into any industry that they qualify. Yes, you have to do certain things, but they shouldn't be stopped from learning.
yeah,
Um, so yeah.
and also I'm thinking about people who might have neurodivergence, like who might
Oh,
have autism. It's kind
okay.
of there's different situation. Is
So let me get into that as well. So that's another thing where cybersecurity needs to change is we're saying that we're trying to make this field more neurodivergent, right? Uh, to be more accepting of neurodivergent. Um, but yet, to me, most of cybersecurity marketing and everything is like, "Ooh, scary cyber! You don't do this." Like it's negative. So most people that are consumers of security fear the security department. They don't even want to talk to us. So they're, the ask, well, someone needs to ask for it to be accessible. They don't even want to talk to you. Do you get that? Like, there's better security cultures at certain organizations, but I would say for the most part, and I'm a security professional, right? I understand we're not well liked. You know what I mean? We need to change that. We should be advisors. You know what I mean? We we shouldn't be feared, but we're also inducing that because you know, perfect example. If you ask someone brand new coming into cyber, and you're a recruiter, what's probably one of the top answers you get back, like what they think cybersecurity is? I have a guess.
yeah.
No, no. What's your what do you
I'm
what
well. I think it's very difficult to think from their perspective by using my
I would say pen testers because
yeah
they think hacking is cybersecurity, and it's way more than that, right? That's so the perspective of most people at your companies are going to think that your guys are just a bunch of hackers and people that will get them in trouble and stop them from doing work. So we need to change that, right? To because you know, no no one's going to approach you if you're not welcoming and
yes.
empathetic.
I
You can
mean
still run a good security program. Let me be clear. I'm not saying not to keep things secure, but you have to understand who you're securing, right? And work with the security at one company is not necessarily going to work at a different company. You get what I'm saying? You have to work with who you are trying to secure. And I'm trying to secure a company that we also have people that have accessibility needs. So I have to look at it differently.
yeah, I agree. Well, and from another jobs perspective, I feel like it might be. I mean, definitely it's more difficult for them to get a job in cybersecurity,
Yes.
and it's like they start from submitting their CVs to the company, then get
Okay.
interviews. I think each
Are
step would have lots of conundrums based on their barriers.
are job postings accessible?
I haven't thought about the question actually.
Are job boards accessible? Might
From
not be.
yeah,
I'm just I mean the training's not accessible, so they can't even get into that. The job postings, and then here's another thing. So we're in cybersecurity awareness month, right?
yeah,
So you're seeing a bunch of cool LinkedIn posts and images to bring a cybersecurity awareness, right? Like we're trying to make people aware. Well, what if all the information is on the image and there's no alternate text? How is everyone getting that?
Well, yeah, yeah, I can feel that way. But since you mentioned that thing, I think I start adding a bunch of alt text and it's the image. Just last time, you had me add some words on the comments. Feel like I need to do it by myself.
Right. Oh, so what she's talking about is a little thing that I've started. I'm a little bit of a marketing nerd, so I'm doing a guerrilla marketing campaign where if I see images that don't have alt text and there's text, that's another thing too. If the image is just decorative, just say in the alternate text that it's decorative. But if it has, and what I mean by that is if you're posting about, you know, something and you think the image will kind of add to that, it's decorative, right? It's not really. But if there's a quote on there that you want someone to see, if there's event information, they're not seeing that, especially if they're using a screen reader. Um, and and let me demystify this too. Screen readers are used not only by people that are blind; they're also used by people that are dyslexic, that have dyscalculia, um, and then I'm starting to, and I know others, because it gets marketed that way. But screen readers can actually help you consume information quicker by speeding up, like or not screen readers, sorry, but audio playback. If you can speed that up, or screen readers by reading books with a screen reader, you can consume information quicker, and you can actually train yourself to listen to things at higher speeds.
So they might have a hyper concentration.
Yes, but you can use it. What I'm saying is, even you, right? Like if we're
Yeah,
reading these research papers, I've been reading them with my eyes.
yeah,
Now I can listen to them at, you know, if it's 45 pages, I can get through that way quicker than if I was reading it. Again, benefits of things being accessible.
that is really good point. The benefits of
Yep. It's the curb cutout theory. So if you walk around in most towns or cities, you'll see that there's curbs cut out on the sidewalk. And that was initially for wheelchair users, right? But it's benefited everyone.
yeah,
Yep.
it's accessible to and maybe it starts being accessible to a certain group of people, then actually it benefits everyone.
Yes. Right. And that goes back to the point of designing it to be accessible. If you design it from the beginning, then it will be accept, and then everyone can consume it. Like right now, if you have $60 and you have a gaming station, right? Like that's the part that you have to get past. Anyone
Yeah,
can play God of War. That's cool. Like I'm not even a gamer. I think that's really neat that it's 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 uh it's accessible by default.
yeah. Well, I'm quite interested in what Steven said.
Oh,
If
let me see.
you're Yeah, if you're listening and reading at the same time, you're using
Yep.
two of your senses. You can consume and
Yes.
memorize information quicker and most effective.
Yep. I agree.
That is very profound to me. Um, yeah, it's just very honest. I never thought about sort of questions before I need to start preparing for the self stream. I feel like, oh my god, this is too advanced and serious. Feel like I might not handle it. And
And the guy AFB, Andrew, just made a really cool point. Accessibility features often help many more people than they were originally intended for. 100% curb cutout theory, right?
yeah,
That's a great point.
that makes perfect sense. Um, so suppose for people who want to get job in cybersecurity. Yeah, that was you mentioned. Even reading a job post might be a big challenge for them.
Yes, yes.
Then,
And can I go into this?
yeah, yeah,
As
that'd be
your
great.
recruiter,
Yeah.
what do you do about how do you handle interviews when people ask for, or do okay? Let me play that back. Do you by default offer options in interviews and how you do the interview to be accessible? Because if someone is neurodivergent, they might not be able to be on video. Is that an option? Because
Yeah,
they're
I'm totally open to that.
okay.
I
But I'm just saying
talked.
that
Yeah.
that's like stuff like that. Can you talk about how to accommodate? Because a lot of recruiters, they're not accommodating, so people won't even apply because they know that even the interviewing process might not be.
First of all, I know like some people might not feel comfortable talking with video call, so we
Oh,
can just do a phone call. And some of the candidates might not be very comfortable on phone call. They might just want to deal with email stuff. Then we can just reply to email back and forth. Because I
right,
have sort of experienced interacting with sort of candidates, and actually a week ago, I attended a Wales Tech event. That's kind of event. Back then I met a candidate on the bus. I feel like yeah, she told me she got sort of like issue as well, but I don't feel like it's kind of like embarrassing to talk about it. I feel like if you need a job, then I can do the job and let's talk. And what's
right,
best way to work for you, then we can just accommodate to that.
right, right. At that conference, did they have? Because I saw the pictures. Did they have like any like quiet areas or areas where people away from like the main floor could like congregate and meet?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, we do. We might. I mean I might not pay
You know,
attention on that.
because that's another thing that I gave you one of the contexts. Kat and Nathan, they did a series with Sands to talk about making conferences to be accessible, and there's a checklist that Pistachio added to the event that um, can help guide you. Like you might not be able to hit all of them, but it helps give you. It's a starting point of things to take into consideration to make things accessible, and especially to make conferences accessible to people that are neurodiverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Wells, my experience that I mean because we attend that conference together, seems
Oh
like he,
yeah, I think he did. I don't know if I asked him. I'll ask him separately if they did have one because I don't remember him telling me that they did or not. Oh, they did. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
We have different focus on different stuff. I feel like
yeah, I wasn't looking at that. Sorry.
because I gonna have like language gap. Um, they have a quiet room and area in the main hall.
Oh,
Oh, that's
neat.
great.
That's awesome. That's
That's great.
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome on them. Whoever, I don't know who they are, but congrats to the event planners because I know that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. But in terms of like training wise,
Yep.
what could employers do to help improve the accessibility in cybersecurity?
I think a couple things. I think awareness. I think that cybersecurity training needs to talk about accessibility, right? Never in any of the training that I've done for any certifications or any just course training seminars, I've never heard about this. So I've never looked at security from an accessibility lens. Never. That's a problem because we need to be looking at it. If you think about it, um, most, I would think fairly to say, most security programs um, utilize user feedback loops. Well, we should be doing more user feedbacks, and we don't have to say, hey, who needs things to be accessible? No, you go back and say, hey, we just rolled this tool out, you know, how do you feel about it? And just open it up with that, knowing that you might get that and handle that. Um, where was I going? Sorry, my brain can give out, so I'll go back to you on questions.
Yeah, I can stand 6:30 early morning there.
Okay.
Need coffee or
Mm.
tea.
No, my brain sometimes when I'll be thinking, it just kind of gives out. So part of my life.
I think yeah, but also because there are not lots of information about
Oh,
how we can deliver better training for people to get
you
accepted
were
into
talking.
industry.
You're talking about yeah, the training. So we need to teach people about it so that they can actually, because if they don't know, how are they supposed to know to go check the solution, right? To be accessible if they've never heard, or if they've never heard at this chat. You get what I'm saying? We need to start in the security pluses, in the try hack me's. They need to be talking about accessibility. That's one. And then I think attending conferences and meeting and networking like this, uh, you know, uh, being able to meet people um, on all spectrums, people that are unaware to help them be aware, and then people that are living this life already in cybersecurity with disabilities because they've pushed through what they could, or people trying to get in. Um, yeah,
Right. Well, that's kind of very. It is challenging. I
it is.
mean, I
No, it is. Yeah, it's very challenging.
yeah, and yeah, comment made by FB said I noticed that none of the live presentations at Wells Tech Week had
Oh,
sign language interpreters or live captions over the stage. That yeah, that's good point. Like when we watched news on TV, it seems that they might have sign language.
yes. Sometimes,
Yeah,
sometimes it does. It depends on the event. Yeah. No, he's right. Especially when it's a big event, like it should be at all events. I get that. I'm also prefacing that I understand what event promoters are going to look, and it's just reality. They're not going to get invest into something if they don't have people coming that's going to help.
yeah, yeah. That's that makes a point.
I I,
And that
I
question,
cringe
yeah,
saying it, but it's true. You know what I mean?
yeah. Sort of event. It's kind of live event. I think I can understand it takes lots of effort to prepare for the
Yes,
event,
yes,
to get all the speakers on the stage and all the audience and get them aware that which stage they should be on. And
right,
it's yeah, the challenge already. But from their perspective, it's challenging. I mean,
right.
that they couldn't be have a really holistic plan to cover all the type of audience.
But again, it goes back to design, right? If they designed the conference to be accessible, then they wouldn't be there. And again, you're never going to be 100%. You're going to miss the mark, and that sucks. I know that, but it's just like security. You're never you're you, what company has zero vulnerabilities? I mean, it's similar, right? So do your best, work with what you can, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's good. I mean, from a bright perspective, that because Joe asked questions, what's some good change you see coming?
Oh,
Justin.
oh, some good change. Stuff like this, people becoming aware and wanting to do change, um, and meeting uh, with people. There's already, I didn't give you the link, freaking frick. There is a network port scanner that's open source called Rust Scan. It's on GitHub, and you can use it just like Nmap, and it's an accessible network port scanner. That could be used by people. And if you are in training, or you lead training, or people, suggest that they use that as an alternative. Um, there's a lot of people that are starting to speak out about this. Conferences are starting to have speakers at cybersecurity conferences talking about accessibility. Um, I know because I am one. I'm working on that. So, and also are some other people. I think that's good. I think future, because surprised this hasn't come up, but I think AI will help greatly with making things accessible, not just in cybersecurity. It's in its infancy stage as well. But I do think that there will be a time where you can just log into a website and it will be accessible for what your needs are. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and also, I mean, one of the good change would be like I start knowing about accessibility in cybersecurity, and I am a recruiter. So it
Right.
means that when I talk to my future candidates, I can be more aware of what sort of options I can
Yeah.
offer them
Right.
when I write to them, talk to them, video call. I know like some people really feel uncomfortable
Hmm.
talking on video. So if it is video is not really um good for them or they don't feel good about it, just we can change channel. We can change.
Right.
We use different ways to communicate.
Well, here's another thing where recruiters are, because we all have a stake in this, right? Recruiters need to make sure that the security solutions are accessible as well because it opens up the talent pool.
Yeah, exactly. Um, exactly. Because I found that one of the articles I read last night, I found it from your LinkedIn post
Oh, did you?
actually.
Sweet.
The article is called this name of the article is addressing the cybersecurity skill gap
Yep.
through
From
neurodiversity.
Cat. Yep.
Yeah, it mentioned that there are many inherent traits in people with autism that are well suited for working in
Yes.
cybersecurity.
Right.
That's kind of like my question as well.
Okay.
I have a question for you.
Go for it.
What are your thoughts about it related to the daily work as a cybersecurity professional?
I've heard some people, I know this is a hot topic and there's different sides to this, and I'm using a hand motion going to both sides. Um, I think it's I think it's good. Can you ask the question again? My brain. I'm sorry.
Um, so related to the article, it means like people
Oh,
who have autism
right.
or yeah, so well suited for working in cybersecurity, and what your thoughts about it is
S-
related to
Yeah.
the daily work
Some
as a cybersecurity professional.
some
Yeah.
people say that it's a superpower and say that saying that is a negative thing. Um, and I get that because I don't want to exploit someone's abilities, right? But at the same time, I'm gonna be careful here. I think it is a strength because if someone can focus on just one thing and just be awesome at it, I mean, penetration testing, security, bug bounties, like I think they're not just that or policy writing. Just dive in and writing policy and just being a writer or a cybersecurity blogger or a cybersecurity marketer or a cybersecurity designer. You know what I mean? Like I think there's a lot there, and we're completely missing, especially. I don't know if this was one of your questions, but especially by taking away remote. That's huge in the accessibility community because now you're taking away some people's right to work because they really only can work from home.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if people who feel it difficult to walk to the office
Right.
or to drive,
Or
they're
neurodiverse, they it's hard to be in, an open room with 100 people with phones and everything going off, right?
yeah, yeah, totally agree. Um, I might find us solutions or the benefits that actually good for people who I mean, because suppose my next question would be like, would it be good for them to disclose information related to disability during the job
Mm.
interview or during the job application? Then it would be something that benefits or risk of disclosing the sort of information.
It can be, but that's touchy because why not just have it accessible? Like that is what's being used right now. I get
Yeah,
it. But again, you're relying on someone. Okay, actually, two things. You're relying on someone being comfortable sharing about their disability.
yeah,
And here's the one that I don't know why I didn't think about this. What if they don't know about their own disability? Because I just heard of a story of a gentleman who was diagnosed with Asperger's because he was going through the questions with his son who got diagnosed with Asperger's and was like, holy crap, I hit these. I know. It melted my brain too when I heard it. It's like
yeah.
there's a lot of people that don't even know that they have this because they've been pushing through and they've just pushed through because you have to.
Yeah, my mind is kind of blank now.
I,
Just,
sorry, it does it
it's
right.
just yeah, I just feel like it's never heard about it, never experienced that sort of topic. Just yeah, my brain got blank.
No, right. I
Um,
mean, but think about it. Okay, you get in a car accident and you lose your hearing. You get in on your way to the metro and something happens in accident or there's a fire and you lose your sight. Like you get older and your vision deteriorates. Are you just supposed to quit cybersecurity? I don't want to quit, but I might have to. That's scary.
that is absolutely scary.
Yep.
Um, but how could we diversify
Make it accessible.
pathways to into cybersecurity? Just make more accessible.
Yeah, the
Like
solutions.
you,
Yeah, by making this, it's the curb cutout, right? You make the solutions accessible, then people can use them and then get into the industry. Because right now, you know, I think there's a huge push for inclusion in cybersecurity, and I think there is a big push for neurodiversity. I think there needs to be an even bigger push for accessibility as a whole, um, because it's often left out of inclusion. People think that it's a part of it, but it's often not. Like, think about this. If you're in an organization and you're supposed to follow the security policies, well, what if the security policies aren't readable by your screen reader? How are you supposed to follow the policy? You're going to click, oh, I accept it because you just did it and just, well, it's not accessible. So I don't know. Or have someone read it to you
that, yeah.
and hope
I
that
mean,
they're reading all of it right.
oh yeah, that means they have to rely on the another person to read
Bingo.
to you. And also, if you ask somebody to read information on your phone, they actually disclose your privacy, and you have
Yes.
to think about how much you rely on this person.
Yes. Yes.
And if it's from a technology perspective, how difficult it is to develop sort of technology to accommodate this the needs to the people who need it. Like,
Well, I do work at a digital accessibility software company, so we have solutions that help. But I think make it is so once it's developed, it is going to be harder to do, right? Because it's already the plane's in flight, right? So what you're going to have to do is just do it in sprints. You're going to have to do it in chunks and have a goal of getting to a point because it's going to be it's not a certain stuff. It's not, oh, hey, we're accessible and we're good. Like it's the practices that you have to add in your daily coding in your daily work life to make sure things are accessible. Another thing that cyber programs do at organizations is have like newsletters, right, to keep people updated. Do those images contain alt text? Are those newsletters of a good color contrast where people can actually consume it?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Um,
Are the link
I'm thinking
are the links that they're
the way.
going to and you're
Yeah,
sending them, are those solutions and information accessible? Probably not.
there are kind of like two ways of communication
Hmm.
from my understanding after listening to your experience. So first of all, how could we make sure that the people who have disability be aware of the new tools or other things that could help them access to cybersecurity? Another way is like how could people in cybersecurity help improve the accessibility or even be aware of accessibility to the people who want to study cybersecurity?
Are you asking me how can we do that?
Yeah, it's kind of like two ways. I feel like it's
They
not
both need to
solving
be
the
aware of
problem.
each other. And I'll tell you right now,
Yeah,
they need to sync. And I'm putting my fingers together, like connecting. Accessibility and security, the our fields are fairly similar. We're not often taken seriously by organizations. We often don't aren't on the board or have a voice truly, right? And you know, we base things off frameworks, right? Accessibility has frameworks. Um, so in the accessibility community, they're so often set aside from security that they're kind of just waiting on security to do it because they've tried. Now that's not everyone, but I would say for the majority, it's like just make something that's useful, right? And then on the other side, it's not going to happen because they're not aware of it. And to me, to fix that, it's the education. When we're teaching people that want to become into cyber, right, or to come into cyber, that's when we need to be talking about it at the learning stage.
they need to plant the seed.
Yes, yes.
Right. Well, it sounds so tough. One another question from Joe is, should there be two versions of the same policy?
So there's
Two versions of the same policy.
yes and no. You can, um, but yeah, I mean, yes, I think so because I think some organizations have different policies in different languages. I think that is a way. The way I'd lean towards, and I'm trying to get better at, is having all of the policies be consumable because let's talk about it. We're talking about information security policies. I mean, there's even professionals that don't understand what a freaking policy means. You're expecting, you know, said sales rep, said HR, said non technical person to just understand all 45 pages or whatever pages of your security policy. No, it needs to be high level, and all of the other stuff needs to be in your standards and procedures. You need to make your policies consumable, and because they're not take accessibility out of it. If they don't understand what you're telling them, how are they signing that they understand it? Because they have to for their job. They're not reading it. Not really. No, I'm a security nerd, so I read all my policies, but I'm not everyone. I mean, at every organization, did you truly read? I mean, maybe you did. Did you truly read every page of the policies that you had to for hire?
Oh gosh, that's challenging.
You don't have to
Um,
answer. I'm just saying it's not often done.
no, no.
I wasn't trying to put you on. I apologize. I shouldn't have put you on the spot, but you know what? It's yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I can feel that.
yeah,
Just yeah, I see what you mean.
there- called Audio Eye.
And
I'm reading from Steven. There's a company called Audio Eye that has a visual toolkit you can include in your company's website to be ADA compliant. It can, yeah,
edit.
yes. Let me add to that, and we might agree to disagree. But so that's an overlay, and overlays can be used, but they need to be used very securely because they can lead to attacks. In 2019, Anonymous hit Israel with an attack where they poisoned the DNS of Nagish dot il, which is Hebrew for accessibility, I believe. And a bunch of the companies, over a million websites, were using that overlay system. And Anonymous got in through the overlay and poisoned the DNS and took out, yeah, over a million websites. So I think, yes, you can use them. Does it give people access to certain things and make it accessible? Yes. Um, but my thing is, why not make the website accessible? Because that's just retrofitting it. But I'm open to Stephen. I'm open to your opinion as well. I'll get the link for the 2019 attack, Pistachio, and I'll send it to you right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no, I didn't know about that attack either, and yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It is developing.
Anonymous accessibility attack. Here it is. I'll send it to you, and then you can share that.
Oh, cool. Let me see if
Yeah, they took out Coca-Cola, Toys R Us, McDonald's, Nautica, Opal. I mean, it was bad.
yeah, and it's hard to imagine from my perspective, just too serious. And
Oh, of course.
wow,
Steven wasn't aware of that. He said he pleads the fifth.
gosh. Yeah, I suppose somehow we might end up wrapping this
Oh
conversation
yeah.
today. Because I don't want you to have very serious sad morning after this live stream.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm not. I'm not be a Debbie Downer. I do. Joe is trying to help me be more positive, and there is, you know, there. Let me here. I'll be positive. There's ways to change, and we can make change. Like that's why I'm bringing this.
That is great, great ending.
Yeah.
That's great ending. I feel like okay, just the one sentence make the whole conversation be very positive.
I gave prayer hands. Prayer hands.
Perfect. 1 minute versus 1 hour.
Sorry.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so glad you can come here today
Thank
actually,
you.
because I never thought we're gonna have so deep conversation
Yes.
in yeah about accessibility and cybersecurity. But that also refreshed my mind. Like I need to be aware of um, the way that I talk to my
Yes.
candidates and
Yeah.
my clients as well.
Yeah.
So
And I'm
that's a
always
good thing.
a research. I can do that for you as well, but I'm always a resource for you if you need assistance with that.
Fantastic. And also, I'm gonna send you all the reference I got last night. I can send to you
Yeah.
to make sure that you got access to the UK website somehow.
I know. I took them down. I definitely need to figure that out.
Great.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you.
Thank you
I hope you
guys.
have a lovely morning.
Have a great one.
Yeah.